Well, howdy, folks. Chief Meteorologist Carson Vickroy here for yet another edition of Weather Talk. Now, I've got a guest you guys know today. He is standing, well, not standing, but he's sitting about 2 feet from me right now. So it's very easy for me to make sure he's behaving himself for this interview
okay.
here. Yeah, we need to make sure of that and keep you on task, Tyler. But the reason why I have one of our anchors on, first off, he is the 4 o'clock KETK, the 5:30 Fox anchor, and also the Fox at 9 o'clock anchor as well, Tyler Henderson, which, Tyler, by the way, I love your name because Tyler, Texas, Henderson, Texas,
Yeah.
Henderson County, Tyler County.
Of
You're
course.
just East Texas, man.
Yeah, I was born and raised. Mama knew best is what the promo said when I first got here. Look, all I'm saying is for this station, it feels like I'm a promotional dream. Not to toot my own horn, but it feels like it's a good fit. Yeah, no, man. It's Mama knew best for sure. Now, did I ever dream I would end up in East Texas? Probably not. I've seen every other part of the state, so we might as well check off the Piney Woods too, right?
Yeah, for sure. But the reason I have you on is you're not actually from East Texas itself. You're from the Hill Country, and
Right.
obviously the Hill Country, it's been in the news quite a bit over the last month or so because of just the devastating, heartbreaking flooding that they had in that area. And you're from Lampasas, correct?
I am, yeah. I was born in Waco, and I split time between Waco and Lampasas. Of course, Lampasas is near and dear to my heart. I love being out in the woods. I love being out in the country. We had a little cattle operation going down there. But yeah, Lampasas was about a week after those Kerrville floods. Lampasas was hit pretty hard too. And we just happened to be down there, had to call in a day to work because of the flooding. Having driven those roads my entire driving life, for the last 10 plus years, wasn't something I wanted to put my kids through, my family through, because it doesn't take much for it to be a real dangerous situation.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, it's scary down there to say the least, especially, with what happened the first week of July, because as you mentioned, Tyler, obviously we had the devastating and fatal flooding down near Kerrville, July 4th. It was the morning of July 4th that all happened. And then a week later, you were down there and we were concerned about you because they got a lot of rain as well up there in Lampasas. Now, obviously, Lampasas, it's a bit further north of where the major flooding occurred. But talk about what it was like being down there just a week after all that went down.
Well, I'll tell you exactly how it happened. We were expecting some rain going down there. We actually went down there for my mom's birthday. They've got their big summer festival celebrating the Lampasas spring. Spring hoe was happening. It was great. It was humid. It was hot. It was a typical, Central Texas summer. We had first day there. It was great. It was that Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon was fantastic. And Saturday night, things kicked up. I remember they said the rain was supposed to come, let's say middle of the night, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, that rain started picking up in Lampasas County, at least where we live, about 8 miles outside of Lampasas, the city itself. Probably about 10:45. It didn't stop raining until probably 5 or 6 o'clock, raining real hard. We emptied our rain gauge probably first thing in the morning. I mean, we probably got a good 10, 14 inches of rain out there. It was nuts, but the storm woke me up in and of itself. I'm a pretty light sleeper as it is, but the sound of the thunder, we had a lightning strike. I swear it felt like right outside of my bedroom window. And you know this very well, Carson. I've got 2 young children. My wife has experienced some bad storms in her life, but it's scary because you feel kind of helpless, and when it goes on for hours and hours and hours on end, it doesn't seem like it's going to let up. It gets pretty scary out there.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, and I know firsthand when the storms move through at night, that's when everybody is sleeping. And that was a major issue with what happened on July 4th down at Kerrville. As you mentioned, Tyler, these storms, they move through between midnight and 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. So people didn't know what was happening outdoors. I mean, Obviously, the National Weather Service, they issued the warnings and they were very good. They did everything by the book.
Yeah.
But, sometimes it just happens at the worst possible time. So a lot of those campers, I'm sure they felt helpless
Mhm.
with those waters rising, which, by the way, between about 4 and 6 o'clock in the morning, the Guadalupe River rose about 30 feet. And there's just no way to combat that without getting out very, very quickly if you knew that was coming. So, talk about what all you saw down in Lampasas. It looked like in some of the pictures, which our great producer Haley Hines is going to show and share with the audience here in just a little bit. Discuss what all you saw down there. I see she's got a picture up that, and it looks like,
Yeah, I'm in it.
yeah,
I'm in it.
yeah,
Smart idea? No. But good photo op? Abso-freaking-lutely. I mean, you don't take. Sometimes it's a gram-worthy picture. I was just saying. So this picture
do it for
right
the
here,
gram.
no kidding. Do it for the gram. This picture in and of itself is that's on the back. We have a tank in the center of our property. This is on the back side of that tank. Now, growing up, you see where I'm at in the middle, and you see that small waterfall there in the back. I mean, way toward the back, there was a hole that where it starts to jut out and the water really starts flowing there. That was closed off. It was just one hole when I was a kid. Now it was probably 4 foot deep, whatever it was
Mhm.
when I was a kid. But this rain that we've had, look at the washout from it. That's all new. That
Ugh.
storm washed a lot of that out, and I sit just at 6 foot, maybe a little under, depending on what day I'm wearing my boots and what
6'1".
day. Yeah, and that extra inch helps
Yep.
a lot.
Give
But
yourself an extra inch.
right, so I'm sitting right at around 6 foot, and you can see there that's just under my knee, water in the depth of
Mhm.
water. Right, that water is still running, and this is I want to say probably 12, 15 hours after all that rain stopped. The morning of, it was going into town. We had to get some diapers for the kids, but going into town that morning, it was incredible. The Sulphur Creek is where they have Spring Hoe, right? And it's just one little creek that runs through the center of town. It's not, I mean, it 5, 6 foot deep at the deepest. It rose up, and they had all of these booths and stuff inside in town there, and some of those booths were washing down Sulphur Creek. It was absolutely incredible. It was mind-boggling because it's called the Hill Country for a reason. You have all
Mhm.
those lows all across that area. I mean, not just in Lampasas County, but going out toward Copper's Cove, going out toward Kempner, toward Gatesville. I mean, there's a lot of low points there on the highways, and if you're not careful, a lot of bodies of water running through there. If you're not careful, you could have got caught up in some flooding really badly. And even the apartment complexes there off of Sulphur Creek, they were evacuating those families because of how high that water was rising. Now, our tank, which is just where I'm at, it's probably 30. Here's a picture of Sulphur Creek in town. So where we're looking at, this is from the road. Now, probably 30 yards to the left, there's a little concrete dock right there. We used to
Mhm.
fish it all the time as a kid. And it sits about, whenever the Sulphur Creek is full, it sits about 6 inches higher than the water, the top of the water. It's covered. And obviously, there's this little parking lot here in the front where you park. Now, that's probably a 3 or 4 foot drop downhill, and it's pushing up toward where the parking lot is. Um, I've seen it flood in the 28 years I've lived, in the 20 years that we've been in Lampasas. I've seen it flood. I've never seen it flood like that. It's it's heartbreaking, man, when you see it firsthand. And just to think about, this is just such a minor. This is just a fraction of what happened in Kerrville. And thankfully, nobody was hurt in this flooding that I know of. But
Mhm.
it's heartbreaking to think what all those folks in Kerrville went through.
Yeah, I mean, you look at a picture like that,
Mhm.
and it's like you can go fishing from the parking lot.
Yeah,
I mean, the
you
water was that high.
you could sit in your car and get your line wet. It was extremely high. Um, and I'll go back to my tank there. You know, the tank on our property. It's been bone dry for years.
Mhm.
Bone dry. And from just the little rain they had the week before, because Lampasas caught some of that rain before the week that the Kerrville flooding happened, it rose probably 4 feet, I guess, 4 or 5 feet. Well, it was up, flooding, overflowing into this little hole that it washed out that night. And it was up probably 10, 12 feet at that point. It was absolutely crazy, because I haven't seen that tank full since I was a little kid. A little kid. I mean, we're talking 4, 5, 6 years old. This is 20-something years ago.
Yeah, and you were discussing Sulphur Creek. I know a lot of the hydrologists, they've been really worried about places in central Texas like Lake Travis, Canyon Lake. I've fished at Canyon Lake before for bass, but that was really low as well. But these lakes, I mean, they rose very quickly because, as you mentioned, Tyler, a lot of these little creeks and streams, there was a ton of runoff moving into those bodies of water, and all of that rose very, very quickly, and it's just amazing that you have been discussing, the tank on the property, and the fact that in your 28 years, 18 of which you were going out there very consistently, still do, you haven't seen that tank full or anything like that.
Absolutely not. Now, the Lampasas River. So this is a picture I took, we're journalists. We got to get artsy-fartsy with it sometimes. This is a picture that I took down in the water. Okay, keep in mind, I'm close to knee-deep in water. And folks, Carson will stress this too.
Yeah, don't do this.
This was an absolutely terrible idea. Absolutely terrible idea. This was not a very safe idea, because this water at this point is still rushing pretty good. It's hard to describe that much later, because not only was I probably a foot in mud, you had that water rushing by. I think that's what kept me still, was I was sunk down so far in mud too that I felt pretty grounded. But you're looking at a hole that's 8 foot deep right there. The whole thing was all this rain that factored into that was never that deep growing up. It's seriously a phenomenon. That's the only way I can describe it. Yeah. And, while the picture is pretty, I think, no bias, but it's so destructive, man, when it gets to running that hard. And we didn't even mention the Lampasas River. The Lampasas River on 190 headed toward Copper's Cove and Kempner. That was up 33 feet. Close to it. It was up almost over the bridge. And you said coming into it, man, the National Weather Service played everything by the book. And here's a video of it running. It doesn't look like it's running very, very hard right there. But sorry for my daughter's fingers getting in the way there.
Professional photographer,
right?
Rory Henderson.
Yeah, she's
doing a good job.
Yeah, she's just trying to help Dad out. Yeah. But the Lampasas River was up close to 33 feet at one point, and give the state of Texas a lot of credit too, because that morning we went into town when the flooding was still so bad. They had every raft out, they had every lifeboat out, they had fire crews on standby, they had rescue crews everywhere on 190. They had probably, I think, close to 20 people on that bridge trying to prevent debris from kicking over, because you don't know what's washing down those rivers at that point, which might be, as dangerous as the water itself is what's floating down the river. You catch a stray log or something, and it going as fast as it is, you don't have a chance if you get in front of it. We saw videos out of McGregor. A guy tried to cross a low point, and his Tahoe got swept away. They had to pull him out. Just crazy, man. Just absolutely crazy. It's heartbreaking for all those families and parents, especially, that lost family in those floods. I know my heart goes out to them, having 2 young kids, and it's just our thoughts and prayers go out to them, man. That's absolutely heartbreaking.
Yeah, it absolutely is. You talk about how destructive flooding is, I should say, and you look at some of the statistics behind it. Flash flooding is the second leading cause of death because it's so prevalent. The second leading cause of death that's weather-related, I should say. Heat is number 1, but most people, they don't really think about flash flooding. So I, as a meteorologist, Tyler, and just thinking, how best can we message this? How can we do this job better? How can we message the dangers of flash flooding? Because here in East Texas, we're in a flood prone area. I mean, sometimes we don't have the best drainage systems, or the drainage systems are outdated. So, places like in Longview or other cities in East Texas, they can flood pretty easily because we've got the Sabine River, we've got the Neches River, we have the Angelina River, we've got all these creeks that feed these great reservoirs that we have, Caddo Lake, Lake of the Pines, Lake Fork, Lake Tawakoni, the list goes on and on. But a lot of our audience, they'll get a flash flood warning on their phone, and it's like, okay, I'll stay home, but at least it's not like a tornado warning, or at least it's not baseball-sized hail, because those events, your tornadoes, the hail, the severe thunderstorms, even the winter storms, people will take action. But, we get so many flood warnings, it's kind of like, well, that just seems redundant and I'm not going to do much. But again, folks, flash flooding can be more dangerous than your run of the mill severe thunderstorm warning that we often see. So you got to be careful when you're outside. You got to make sure, if you live in those flood prone areas, if you live on a county road that often floods, which we do have many of those in East Texas, you got to keep an eye on those flood alerts. If you live by a river and you live on a road that often gets flooded, you got to make sure you have an alternate route to take to work, to take to school, wherever you're going, because flooding can be very dangerous, because it does not take a lot of water on the surface of the road to do a lot of damage to you or your vehicle. So please be careful, turn around, don't drown.
Yeah, you can't stress that enough. So here's another spot in town here. It's very similar to the flooding that happened in McGregor too. Now, the one in McGregor, they had the water level on the side of the road. Now that body of water wasn't over the road, but by about a foot. Anybody in a truck, in a SUV, whatever, you may think you'd be able to get across it. It didn't take that guy but probably 2 or 3 feet into that water for his Tahoe to get swept away. And he's lucky that he got caught on something. I couldn't see what he got caught on, but he would have been in a lot of trouble if his Tahoe didn't catch.
Yeah.
It's scary stuff, but I mean, even water rushing about like it is here, and it looks still in this picture, but when you see water even just that deep, I mean, it doesn't take much for it to move a car car quickly.
Yeah, and that picture may not do it justice on that screen, but I mean, it looks like the first few feet or the first few yards into that, near that power line, that doesn't look like a ton of water. So, I'm thinking with my big 4-wheel drive diesel Dodge Ram, what have you, I'm thinking maybe I can get through that. And again, folks, we don't know how deep that is, because I guarantee you it's a lot deeper than you think it is, and you're going to lose contact between your tires and the surface of the road, because water is powerful. Yeah. It can take large objects a long way downstream.
Well, think about that sign right there in the middle of the picture, just past the power line. I'm pretty sure that sign says, "Careful bridge floods," or something along those lines. And those signs are what, 6, 7, 8 foot tall ish, and it's up to the actual sign. So if that gives you any indication how tall or how high that water is, I mean, look at those signs, because you got to think, we've all stood by a stop sign before, or a crossing the street sign, whatever. We've all stood by them. They're tall. They're taller than you think they are. And if the water is that high on a sign like that, even if it's up on the road, your best bet is to turn around, don't drown. You can't stress that enough, because how often do you see it out here that you think you can get across a road? If I go fast enough, I can get through it. That's not how it works. It's not how it works. And unfortunately, in this business, we hear about it all too often, that there's a water rescue or what have you. I mean, all the time this time of year. We hear it all the time. And so for all of you at home, please be careful out there anytime it floods. And I mean, I've seen it firsthand. I know y'all have probably seen it firsthand. Carson studied it, for crying out loud. You can't stress that enough. I mean, because the last thing you want is to, and I hate to say it, to be a statistic. In
Yep.
these drowning cases, in these flood deaths. You don't want to be a number.
We don't want to talk about you on the news.
Right. We want to praise East Texans on the news. We want to spread some good news too. But yeah, this is the last thing we want your name to scroll across the screen on.
Yeah. And Tyler, I'm interested to get your perspective on this because, I mean, you had how many head of cattle down there?
Oh, now not many. Probably 10, 12, 13. We don't have many. But we don't have many anymore.
But I mean, your family, they're involved in that community. And,
Right.
As a meteorologist here in East Texas, you always have to take the effect on ag into account. Like,
Sure.
if we have a drought, hay prices, they're going to be very,
Yes.
very high. And any person that has horses, any person that has cattle on their property, they know a thing or two about that. It could be
Yes.
grain prices, it could be alfalfa prices. Anytime there's a drought, and it doesn't have to be here in East Texas, people are going to feel that.
Yeah.
And obviously, we're having the opposite issue here. So when something like this happens, how do you all prepare for that? And what do y'all do if you guys, like in those photos that you showed, if there's a bunch of washing out, how do you guys take care of the land in that instance?
Well, I'll be honest with you. We actually checked our hay bales. We had just cut hay. My stepdad did about probably a week before. And hay has got to be a certain temperature. You got to make sure it doesn't mold. It's got to be a certain way or you can't use it. Well, you can't prepare for something like this. A little bit of rain's not going to hurt you. It's not. A little bit of rain's a good thing, right? I mean, not just for the fact that my stepdad had to cut, but it was already overgrown by the time he went to go check the hay bales again. But then our hay was ruined, man. It's soaked through. It's getting moldy. It's getting nasty, so it's not good.
Yeah.
And so we don't sell the hay. We keep it for ourselves, use it for our cows, and if neighbors need it, then they can have their pick too. We want to take care of the folks around us as well. But yeah, we lost a lot of hay in that just because it got too sopping wet and you can't use it. But when it's that wet out there too, I mean, our pasture's not level either. It's got rolling hills in it. It's got low spots, and if that stuff floods and your ground's too wet and you can't work it, you go out there, you get a tractor stuck, and I mean, there's all kinds of expenses surrounding it. Do you want to take the risk and go out there and get your tractor stuck? No. Do you want to go out there and lose a bunch of hay because it's too wet? No. But some of that stuff you can't necessarily prepare for, and unfortunately, we're kind of on the losing end of it this year.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, I know in rain, we're covering our hay bales for the horses.
Yeah.
But like you mentioned, it is hard to prepare for a phenomenon, that crazy, because a lot of people are saying this was a 100-year flood.
Right.
I often bring up the statistic that this is probably going to be the second or third deadliest flood in Texas history. The first in the Hill Country, assuming you take out the 1900 Galveston hurricane, which is just absolutely devastating. As you mentioned before, Tyler, thoughts and prayers go out to all the people affected. And to anybody watching this video, if you want to get involved, I know we have something on our website. There are a lot of great churches here in East Texas that are sending aid down there and are just trying to get resources down there to the Hill Country because it's a long road to recovery there.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to... We're not going to recover overnight. And, I say we because Texans stand together, right? I mean, I've seen it in West Texas with fires where towns were destroyed. I mean, I saw a town in I guess closer to central Texas, closer to Dallas, but they had 100 structures in the town, 100. And they ended after the fires, there was like 20. And they're still recovering. And this has been 4 years now. I mean, flooding is just that much worse too. And people's houses destroyed. They lost memories. Obviously, for the folks that lost family, you got to just keep them in your thoughts and prayers, and if you can help, find out what they need the most, because they need all the supplies they can get. But I think, at least from my point of view, if I can give them a little bit of money, hey, you get what you need, And so Texans stand with Texans; they always will. That's never going to change, and I'm just proud of the East Texans that have showed up so far, and the East Texans that are going to show up again.
Yeah, and I mean, you're absolutely right on that. I'm very proud of our community and how they've branched out and really helped people that are in need right now in the Hill Country. But let's go ahead and end this on a bright note. So the Rangers, I think they're 56 and 51, and Tyler's a big Rangers guy, and I don't blame him one bit. I'm a big Texas Rangers fan.
Yeah.
I'm probably a little more bandwagon than most of us come, but they're 56 and 51. What is the key to the Rangers making the postseason? What do they need? Do they need more offense? Do they need pitching? Do they need better fielding? What are your thoughts?
Let's be real. The offense has been abysmal. Okay, the offense has been non-existent. But the end of the season, they ride or die by Corey Seager. Corey Seager's got to get going, and once he's on one, he just stays hot throughout the rest of the year. Their pitching's got to stay healthy. Injuries are always big, but the trade deadline, when we're recording this, is 3 days away, I guess. We need some bullpen help, man. We got to have a lockdown closer, and for crying out loud, get Jock Peterson off my team. That dude couldn't hit the broadside of a barn if he tried. And I love him. He's a good character, good clubhouse guy. Whoa. See, look, I'm sorry, Haley. I'm kind of tearing up.
He's passionate about it.
I'm tearing up your studio here. I don't mean to.
We can cut that part out.
But seriously, Jock Peterson, man. Hey, bat to ball, man. Don't overcomplicate things. You're a great player. You're a great clubhouse guy. We love you. We just need you to hit better than a $124, please. Please.
Well, there you go. We've got the Weather Talk podcast sports analyst host right here.
The official analysis of the Texas Rangers right here.
There we go. Well, hey, I appreciate you coming in to do this, Tyler.
Always.
Again, we wanted to get your perspective since, you're a Hill Country native. Yeah. And, thank you for what you do here at the station.
I appreciate that.
You're a great father, and thank you so much for, just being present here every single day. And we look forward to the news. We'll see you on KETK News at 4 for the remainder of the week.
Yeah, look forward. Come on, stop on by. We're always here.